Imagine you're the CEO of a company. In front of you are two choices. On one side is a real employee who works 8 hours a day, requires a salary, health insurance, and paid vacation. On the other side is a highly intelligent AI system that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never gets tired, and never asks for time off. Who would you choose? A few years ago, most people wouldn't have hesitated. They would have chosen the AI. After all, we've spent years hearing predictions about a future where machines replace humans in nearly every profession. But as we move through 2026, a surprising reality is unfolding behind the closed doors of the world's biggest technology companies. Many businesses are discovering something nobody expected. Human workers are actually cheaper than AI. And that realization is creating a major problem for an industry worth trillions of dollars. For years, people assumed the main reason AI hadn't completely replaced humans was because it still made mistakes. AI can hallucinate facts, misunderstand context, and produce answers that sound incredibly convincing while being completely wrong. But that's no longer the biggest obstacle. Even if AI became perfect tomorrow and never made another mistake, it would still face one extremely simple challenge: cost. Running a modern AI model requires an enormous amount of electricity, massive data centers covering acres of land, thousands of high-end GPUs operating around the clock, and industrial-scale cooling systems. Every one of those things costs money, and a lot of it. In other words, AI doesn't just consume data, it consumes electricity, semiconductor chips, and cash. This reality became increasingly visible throughout 2026 as technology companies began revealing numbers that shocked the industry. At Nvidia, the company at the center of the AI revolution, senior executives admitted that the computing resources consumed by their AI teams had grown larger than the company's employee payroll expenses. Think about that for a moment. Even the company selling the shovels during the AI gold rush is struggling with its own AI bills. Uber experienced a similar problem. Within just a few months, the company's annual AI coding budget had already been exhausted. Management was forced to pause and reevaluate whether the investment was delivering enough value to justify the cost. And perhaps the most alarming part isn't that AI is expensive. It's that nobody knows exactly how expensive it might become. As companies poured billions of dollars into artificial intelligence, investors began asking a simple question: where is all the money going? To prove that AI investments were paying off, some organizations started tracking the number of AI tokens employees consumed every day. At first, the idea sounded reasonable, but it quickly spiraled out of control. Employees realized that the more AI they used, the more productive they appeared. This led to the rise of a strange phenomenon often described as token farming. Simple questions became massive prompts several pages long. Multiple AI agents were launched simultaneously to solve tasks that required only one. Work that didn't need AI was suddenly being routed through AI systems. Engineers stopped reading documentation themselves and instead dumped entire documents into chatbots just to get a quick answer. The result was predictable. Token consumption exploded, costs skyrocketed, yet actual productivity barely improved. This is a perfect example of Goodhart's law. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. Using more AI no longer reflected better work. It simply reflected higher resource consumption. Several reports suggest that AI resource usage has already reached astonishing levels. Some employees are responsible for AI workloads worth millions of dollars per month, while some companies now monitor AI spending in real time just to prevent budgets from spiraling out of control. Independent research has reached a similar conclusion. Heavy AI users can increase costs by hundreds of times while consuming dramatically more computing resources, yet the final output often improves only marginally. In other words, using more AI does not automatically make people more productive. Sometimes it simply makes them more expensive. One of the most famous examples of the gap between AI marketing and reality is Amazon's Just Walk Out technology. The concept sounded like science fiction. Customers walk into a store, pick up what they want, and leave. No checkout lines, no cashiers, and no barcode scanning. The AI handles everything automatically. At least that was the promise. Reality turned out to be very different. Behind the scenes, thousands of workers were required to review camera footage and verify what customers actually picked up and purchased. The situation became so famous that it inspired a sarcastic joke within the technology industry. AI didn't stand for artificial intelligence, it stood for actually India. In the end, deployment costs were too high, operational costs were too high, and the project became a cautionary tale for the entire industry. So why is AI so expensive? There are three major reasons. First, the subsidy era is ending. For years, AI companies were willing to lose billions of dollars in order to attract users and dominate the market. But as financial pressure grows, they are being forced to raise prices. Second, modern AI models have become far more complex. To generate better answers, they perform significantly more internal reasoning than previous generations. Users may only see a few hundred words in the final response, but behind the scenes, the system may process tens of thousands of tokens before producing that answer. Third, there are physical limits. Memory chips are becoming more expensive, GPUs are becoming more expensive, and electricity is becoming more expensive. In some regions, AI data centers are already placing serious pressure on local power grids. This is no longer just a software problem. It's a physics problem, an energy problem, and an infrastructure problem. And that brings us to the greatest irony of the AI revolution. The thing protecting millions of jobs today isn't regulation, ethics, or even creativity. It's the electricity bill. AI will continue to improve. It will become smarter, faster, and more capable. But for now, it remains constrained by the physical realities of the world around it. And as long as the cost of running AI remains higher than the cost of employing a human being, people still have time. Time to learn, time to adapt, and time to prepare for whatever comes next. Perhaps the most important question is no longer, will AI replace humans? Instead, the real question is, when will AI actually become cheaper than humans? And the answer may be much farther away than most people think.